I never imagined my life would be so affected. That I would meet these courageous men who have been diagnosed with prostate cancer and are fighting to push it forward, willing to share their stories in hopes to help somebody else.
Rico?
Yes, sir.
What do you do for a living, man?
I work for a branch of the Department of Homeland Security, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. So you got anything to do with us taking our clothes off at the airport?
Yes, sir.
You ain't the guy with the gloves on.
Yes, sir. The blue ones.
You get the first time that happened to me, and this dude starts snapping on them gloves.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, I'm over 40, so usually when a man slaps on gloves around me, I'm thinking something else about to happen. You all don't get this joke
I do,
because
sir. I get it. I get it.
these little young cats here just looking at me.
You know what it is. It's for the pay.
Well, see, when you're 40, you have to get a prostate exam. You don't even know where your prostate is, do you? You're gonna find out, though. And let me tell you something, fellas. When they tell you where your prostate is, you ain't gonna like it. And then it's a man, big old man, about that size right there. He gonna go looking for it. He gonna have a glove on. His hand gonna look like a catcher's mitt. Hey, you know what he gonna do? He gonna put his hand in there looking for your little prostate.
Dr. Friendship, tell us a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Detroit, son of a doctor who practiced on the east side of Detroit, his old neighborhood that he grew up in.
Detroit, Detroit.
Yeah, the D.
The D.
Exactly. And from there I went to University of Michigan, where it was pre-med, but I also studied sociology and health disparities, so understanding the differences and the health outcomes of African Americans and minorities versus whites. And that kind of inspired me to go into urology, where I focused most of my work on men's health and prostate cancer, and focusing on community-based research, trying to figure out ways to improve access to care.
Let me ask you a question. So you found earlier on that there actually is a difference depending on if you're a white person or if you're a person of color when it comes to diseases, when it comes to the symptoms or what? Just in general, there are a lot of differences.
Yeah, so in fact there are differences across a number of diseases, including prostate cancer, with respect to who dies of the disease, at what rates, and who's diagnosed. And so if you think about prostate cancer, for instance, black men die at higher rates of the disease and are diagnosed at higher rates of the disease than any other racial or ethnic group in the world.
When should you start getting your prostate exams?
When do I start getting mine? Well, I don't know, man. Like, we gotta get it around like 25, 30, right?
Like 25, 30, what do you think?
I wouldn't even know. I would guess around the same, maybe even earlier, maybe like 21.
I'm 46 and I've had it about 3 times now, so I'd say somewhere around the early 40s.
At 50.
At 50.
35.
What do you think?
At 35.
What age should a man start getting his prostate exam?
As soon as they can. 20s, 30s. They say, start getting in your, your 30s or 40s, you should be getting checked regardless.
Cool.
Do you think you got a problem or not?
Do you think men or do you think women have prostates?
Men.
At what age do you think that you should start having prostate exams?
They said earlier the better.
So
around like 20s, mid-20s?
Around mid-20s? And when you reach mid-20s, you think you'll have that exam?
No, it's a bit invasive.
No?
I know in November you let your hair grow to support prostate awareness.
My man, there you go. There you go. There you go. You see,
I don't know what age though.
You'll
Around 40.
How about you? What do you think?
Probably around 45, 50.
Yeah. It depends on your race. Black people probably a little earlier.
My man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, normally we have to test. We're at higher risk, probably because of foods we were being fed at an early age. I mean, we have.
Now, I'm not feeding this brother no lines here. He just flowing here.
I mean, unfortunately, our diet, isn't as healthy as some of our counterparts.
I suppose it's a 50, 54, something like that.
18.
Do you know how old men should start getting their prostate exam? I'll take that as a no too.
Wow. Tell us, at what age do you think a person should get a prostate exam?
Yeah, so for most men, we've actually started to change those guidelines over the years, and for many men, they may be confused as a result. So, in general, men need to be screened at 55 now. So between the ages of 55 and 69, most men will need to be screened or offered a PSA test, which is a screening test or a test to identify men who are at risk for prostate cancer. Now, that being said, that's all men. And as I told you already, for many men who are African American, they're at higher risk of prostate cancer. And so for those men who are at higher risk for prostate cancer, so those men include men who are African American or men with a family history of prostate cancer, they need to be screened at earlier ages, and that age is typically 40.
40. So 10 to 15 years before the general population.
And there's a good reason for that. The reason being is that when you look at African American men, not only are they diagnosed with prostate cancer more often, and not only do they die more often, they also are diagnosed at younger ages and with more aggressive forms of disease. And so the importance of us potentially curing men of prostate cancer who are African American is that we identify it early and at a point where it has not spread beyond the prostate so that we can treat it.
Tell us a little bit about the process for screening for prostate cancer.
Yeah, exactly. So we kind of already alluded to the fact that there's a blood test. That blood test is the PSA to which I referred to. PSA stands for prostate-specific antigen.
Okay.
A PSA test is a blood test that we can use to potentially find men who are at risk for prostate cancer. It doesn't tell us if you have it or not, but for those men who have an elevated PSA, so that would be a PSA that has a value above 4, for those men, we consider them at risk for prostate cancer.
We're doing a documentary on prostate cancer called The Silent Killer. I was wondering if you knew where your prostate was.
I know where it's located.
Do you know where your prostate is?
Yes. My prostate was?
Yeah, where your prostate at? Where your prostate at? Oh, okay.
Kind of somewhere inside there, deep up your butthole.
Between your vagina and your asshole.
Tell me this. Do you know where your prostate is? I'll take that as a no.
Yes, and a man?
Uh-huh.
Yes.
You know where it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm interested to find out if he knows, though.
Probably
More importantly.
not. Probably not.
I want to ask you, do you know where the prostate is? Where the prostate at?
Where the prostate is?
Uh-huh.
Prostate. That's up your butt, ain't it?
Do you know where your prostate is?
Near your bladder.
Near your bladder? Okay. How about you? What do you think?
I have no clue.
Yeah.
I don't have one.
I believe so. And where might that be? Behind me?
Do I know where it is?
Right.
I would hope so.
How about you, my man?
I can point around somewhere, right? It's somewhere around.
It's somewhere around.
Yeah, somewhere around.
Right.
In the growing area. Okay. That's pretty cool.
I know how they test for it, unfortunately.
Mr. Brown, I do have to tell you that you are well past 40 now.
Way past. Well, I ain't that much past. You trying to make it seem like 40's down there, and I'm way back. I'm close to 40. I mean, 40 over there, and I'm right there. You make it seem like I'm old or something.
The point I'm trying to make is that you should be having regular colon and prostate exams. It could save your life.
Okay, you go ahead and check my colon and my prostitute record.
It's prostate, Mr. Brown.
Cora, I know. It's the same thing. Just go ahead and just check me. Hold on. I had some of Cora's chips I found, and I may have some on my prostate. Go ahead and check.
Not that end, Mr. Brown. The other end.
You talking about my beginning and the end?
Yes.
The devil is a lie. You can't be back there like that. Wait, doctor.
Get him, doc.
Wait. I'm new. Please.
The other thing that we can do for men to help identify prostate cancer is called the digital rectal exam. Now that's the finger wave. That's something I might call.
Oh yes, the old finger wave.
Exactly. And so, I come in, I tell men, I have to do this exam. No man is comfortable having it done. I
It's more
apologize.
painful for you than it is for me.
Exactly. I apologize. I have large hands. I tell them all that ahead of time. That by definition, it'll just be a few seconds of discomfort that may save your life.
Do you give them a hug or anything afterwards?
Most don't want to give me a hug.
I don't know, because I wonder whether I would prefer to have a woman give me that exam or a man. I don't know. I guess both ways it's going to be uncomfortable. Okay, guys, let's just open it up. What are some of the things that you've heard about prostate cancer? Anybody?
Painful. You heard it's painful, it's demoralizing, something that men don't, or you don't think that men want to go through or experience.
Impotence. Gee, that's what I think about. Impotent. Yeah, that's what most guys think about. And when you go for your a prostate exam, not a pretty sight, not a pretty thought.
Yeah.
I think you have to start getting them once you turn 40.
I actually heard something interesting. I don't know if it's true or not, but if a man lives long enough, eventually they'll have an issue with their prostate. So it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when.
My grandfather passed away of prostate cancer. I don't know the exact details of it, but I think he was 82 when he passed away. But yeah, I think it is once it slowly, it's like walnut size, and it slowly grows over a man's life.
What do you guys think about when you think about prostate cancer?
Yeah, I think I go to mine checked every year. I don't want it. I mean, from little thing, if I'm urinating and if it's spreading, I'm like, hey, I better get this checked. I mean, I'm scared of it because.
What you mean if it's spread?
Like if you urinate and because if you check out the prostate, it's right by your urethra, and so when you urinate, that controls the flow. And if your flow is off, potentially you're thinking about, man, do I have something wrong against it. The main thing you think about, is your prostate, right? I'm a little older than all you guys, so the older I get, I'm like, okay, I check everything. So I do, people are afraid Chris talking about the different tests, like my PSA, doc out for I don't care, whatever it takes, man, I just want to make sure I'm okay. I don't care what nobody, say about it, and then I've also had the
finger wave.
I had the finger wave, and I also had to put it to sleep, and then, I had it all, man. So I'm gonna make sure my youngest is only in 6th grade, man, and I want to see, with the grandkids and so on. So I'm not. I check everything.
I found out that I didn't know that prostate is higher among African Americans. Men. I didn't know that one. That was something new.
Okay, we're going to get into that too. What do you think about when you think about prostate cancer?
Definitely the painful part in terms of, I haven't had the examination yet because I hear it's 40, I guess so. Yeah, definitely the painful aspect. It's like I was saying before, it's like my dad told me, they put you to sleep and stuff. So he was like, yeah, when you do it, man, it's real smooth. You wake up, you're like, cool. But, I've heard horror stories, with the glove and the finger. And
so your dad talked to you about it?
Yeah, he did. He's talked to me about it.
How many of your fathers are still alive?
My father's dead. Okay. He had cancer, but not prostate cancer. Right.
Because that's another thing. In our communities, black men die off so fast that they're not there to advise their sons as they get around that age. They're usually out of the picture at that point. So that probably exacerbates the problem. What do you think about it?
I think about, my father also had the exam, and he told me about it, and he said, he used the words, it was uncomfortable. And he had some snipping, he could hear a little snipping, and he felt a little pinch, he said. And, I think my grandfather, who's still alive as well, also, they were concerned that he may have a problem there, but I don't know what the result of that was. So I'm concerned about the pain thing and the whole dynamic of that.
You're concerned about the pain of the exam itself? Or?
Yeah. The whole, invasion thing. But the snipping, that sounds like a biopsy. Yeah, he did. Yeah, that's why I had a biopsy, yeah.
So part of your fear is even taking the exam itself.
Yeah.
Because of the pain of it.
Absolutely.
Now that's interesting because in African American communities and Latin communities, there seems to be a kind of homophobia about this test. And so a lot of guys don't want to even think about that, don't want to take the test, don't want to think about taking the test. And maybe it depends on whether they have a female or male doctor. That might even make it more difficult as well. How many of you take the exam?
There's no way I would have a female doctor give me that. No way. It's too embarrassing.
Now you have to have one man. You have to have a man. You have to have
just because you're in a compromised position. That's too
catch-22.
Yeah, I know, but that's.
I would probably feel more comfortable with a female myself.
No, because I'm a male doctor, and I've always had a male doctor. But
Yeah.
not that female doctors are incompetent. I'm not saying that. I would just feel, I don't know.
Violated, huh?
I don't know. If a male, you feel violated. So I don't know.
I think my doctor was too shy to do that. When are you supposed to have the exam?
Once you're 40. Once you turn 40.
That's changing, I believe. I think they're requesting that young African American males get it at an early age. I had mine done at 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it in your family?
No, it's not. No history of it.
I haven't had. I went in for a physical last year, to be perfectly frank with you, and my doctor asked me a bunch of questions about it, and you know, I guess everything sounded great to him, you know, and I haven't had the exam.
Did he do a blood? Did they do a PSA?
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So you're 45, and you haven't had the exam. You haven't had the exam. How old are you?
35.
35.
Yeah.
How old are you?
52.
And you've had the exam.
No, I have not had it.
You haven't had the exam.
No.
Come here, man. We're gonna go next.
You know,
Nah.
you know, as I was thinking, is that there's like I'm not hearing enough about what's causing it. You know, like so I don't hear cause being.
Well, they kind of it's diet, stress. They said high dairy products and meat, red meat.
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get into some of that too. I remember I'm 54, and I didn't have it until I was 50. I thought 50 is a good age. My father passed away when I was 21, so I'm figuring stuff out as I go along, kind of thing. And I remember I've always had a female doctor for like the last 15 years, and when I turned 50, I thought she had said you should probably get this exam, and it was a kind of awkward feeling. And she happens to be African American as well. And then she says, it might feel a little uncomfortable. You might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's not going to be bad. And then she went for the KY gel and the glove. and I'm thinking I'm getting really embarrassed and it's awkward. But
That's what I meant.
But she put the glove on and she pulled it back and she snapped it loudly on purpose, going. Now here's time to make it happen, and the snap kind of broke the ice, and I would say 20 seconds later it was done.
Right.
And I remember that. But by the time you get to the exam, that's something different. But what are the symptoms?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. And so for prostate cancer, there typically are no symptoms. Like other diseases like diabetes and high blood pressure, that's why we consider them all silent killers. In particular, like prostate cancer is something that by the time that you...
Dr. Frencher, we're right across the street from the beautiful campus of UCLA, my alma mater. I'd like to know, what are some of the universities and organizations that are on the cutting edge of finding a cure for prostate cancer?
Yeah. I think, when I think about some of the places that do some of the best work around prostate cancer, you kind of separate them into a couple different types. I mean, you have places that have really great cancer centers, like UCLA, and like Memorial Sloan Kettering, John Wayne Institute. You think about, Johns Hopkins, WashU in St. Louis, University of Michigan, and then you also think about Vanderbilt with their affiliation with Meharry that does really great work. You also have organizations that help to fund a lot of this research. So organization like the Prostate Cancer Foundation, that helps to fund a lot of innovative and very what are called high-risk research projects that look to push the envelope and may not be successful, but if they are, really take us a huge leap forward in terms of understanding how to treat this disease.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is JP Blaze, and I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and I've been living in the U.S. for about 10 years now, and I currently attend Meharry Medical College, and I'm a second-year student, and I'm doing research over the summer at Vanderbilt Medical College.
Okay, tell us a little bit about this. Actually, I heard some story, and I don't know whether this is like folktale, but something about a salt wagon, and that had something to do with how this college got started. Do you know about that?
Yes, I'm very familiar with that story. It's actually of a white gentleman who was going through Kentucky late at night, and his wagon went off course, and he needed a place to stay overnight, and he came across an African American family who was very welcoming to him. They welcomed him in their house, and he spent the night. And when he left, he promised them that he'll do something for their race. And many years later, he and his brothers, they became very wealthy, and they donated money, which helped establish Meharry Medical College.
I heard that. I thought that when I first heard it, the lady was telling me it was just pulling my leg, but she said they actually helped him get the wagon the next morning. They helped him get the wagon back on the road, and because of that act of kindness, this guy, even though he didn't have the means at that time, said that he was going to do something for their race, huh?
Exactly.
And years later donated the money so that they could start this college?
Yes, and they began Meharry Medical College from his donations.
Wow. So it was all started from an act of kindness?
From an act of kindness from our community, the African American community. I'm doing research on prostate cancer, which is a very, very prevalent disease, and it's a very high. I think African Americans are 60% more likely to actually develop prostate cancer than our Caucasians. So,
have you had any history of prostate cancer in your family?
Well, actually I do, and recently my uncle, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and right now he's going through treatments. So it did hit me kind of close to home, and that's why I decided to do this project over the summer on this particular disease.